The entirety of Robert Eggers' nightmarish Nosferatu is like this cup. It's exactly what you'd expect from a Dracula or a Nosferatu film, and yet not at all, making it incredibly difficult to untangle this web of characters and metaphors and the tone. But we're gonna try. Despite the bone-chilling silence in my theater, this has a very clear sense of humor, something present in all of Robert Eggers' films, but especially The Lighthouse. For crying out loud, he has sequences where a character says, "I hope that person's okay," only to hard cut to that exact person laying on the floor, very clearly not okay. An obvious comedic moment placed right next to some of the most grotesque images you'll see this year. This specific style and juxtaposition grants him a lot of freedom to play with the tone and gives control to the actors to make bold choices, something they do for better or worse.
I have seen things in this world that would have made Isaac Newton crawl back into his mother's womb.
Now, tone is a difficult thing to pull off. It's a tightrope walk that the entire film hinges on. If you don't get the humor of the film, it's safe to say that the tone didn't work for you. Unfortunately, the tone of any film can be greatly affected by people's expectations. Look no further than It Comes at Night for a prime example. When you see a trailer for a moody period piece and then think about past adaptations, you naturally expect a film like Nosferatu to be moody and dark, which it is. What you probably wouldn't expect, though, is for it to have a sense of humor, which makes it very hard to wrap your head around. It's Eggers' own style that seems to be getting in the way of people enjoying the film. Not that it matters. F*** 'em. Misinterpreting the tone or not getting the sense of humor is one thing, but an issue can arise if the characters are difficult to understand.
If we are to tame darkness, we must first face that it exists.
Of course, you don't need characters to have these big, grand arcs if the story is great. Yet it feels like this movie wanted to have its cake and eat it too, plunging its hands deep into the Nosferatu story with bold artistic choices, while also trying to have a incredibly ambitious character study. Lily Rose Depp plays Ellen Hutter, the lead of the film. From the very first scene in the film, you know that she and the Count have this strange bond. She's awoken from her sleep, wanders outside, and gets plowed by the disgusting body of Count Orlok. This moment is simultaneously the beginning of a dark character arc for Ellen and the start of a theme carried throughout the film. Incredibly subtle as it may be, the theme of the film points its long, disgusting nail at the guilt and shame of Ellen's sexual desire. This moment early on, where the Count is ravaging her, can be taken both literally and figuratively. If taken literally, the Count is taking advantage of her, and her pussy was so good he desperately wants to smash again. From this point on, Ellen is racked with visions of Count Orlok, even giving her the ability to see the future. His mystical energy radiates with hers, and through the entire film, it's his only goal to get back to her, like a clingy ex who says she's really mature for her age.
In retrospect, when I think about my character's relationship with Ellen, it's kind of beautiful because he's the one that sees her. Nobody else sees her.
The literal arc of Ellen is coming to terms with the fact that she is the only one that can stop the Count due to her bond with him that started on that front lawn.
And unfortunately, the one person, before she meets you, who does see that is a demon. You know, he's a vampire.
All the characters from her husband Thomas down to the zany Albin Eberhard von Franz are more or less vessels to push the story forward. Thomas is used to reintroduce the Count and his influence to Ellen, while Defoe is used as a resident occult expert. Again, not necessarily a bad thing that they're so one note, if there's something more to the film. Bringing us to if you take that opening scene metaphorically, the Count might not be literally there. In fact, he might not literally be anywhere. He's the literal embodiment of the shame and the guilt that Ellen is feeling for masturbating on her front lawn as a kid. Truly a dark secret at a time when a woman was just supposed to be walking the straight and narrow until she got married to her husband, only then to fulfill every deed or need that her husband had for her. Meaning that this natural urge that she succumbs to racks her with such guilt that it's almost like she's possessed.
Only you can redeem us.
Driving her to depression or melancholy, reliving this dark moment where she let her sexual desire get the better of her every night as she struggles with wanting more from her husband than he can reasonably offer.
Yeah, this love triangle between her husband, who she does love, you know, and he loves her, but he cannot like fully see her and fully understand her and cannot like understand her connection to the dark side or the other side.
Orlok, aka her own darkness, uses her friends as a way to manipulate her by killing them off and saying that you could be the one that stops this. He inflicts as much mental torture on her as possible while she is just trying to come to grips with the fact that she might be super depressed. Again, something you can take literally or figuratively. Yes, Orlok tells her that her friends will all die by his hand if she doesn't submit to him, but again, the Count could easily be interpreted as the embodiment of anything evil. Count Orlok doesn't discriminate. Children, parents, men, women, all can be taken by the plague. Taking and taking, but never really being satisfied. But maybe if he manipulates Ellen, he would be. Yet for so long, Ellen seems possessed by Orlok, thrashing in her sleep, passing into a trance-like state that no one can wake her from. Orlok has stretched his hand of darkness across this unsuspecting town, but with the help of a truly pure man, Ellen is given the strength to overcome her own darkness, confessing to Thomas what happened to her on the lawn as a younger person. With this confession and how Thomas responds, she's free from the influence of grief, aka Orlok, that's been gripping her. She realizes the only way to save people she loves is to make the ultimate sacrifice and take Orlok with her.
Everyone, the stench of their bodies was horrible. But I'd never been so happy.
We all have past trauma, or feelings of guilt or shame from things we've said or done. Whether that's succumbing to sexual desire while being devoutly religious or something else, the shame and the guilt can be incredibly difficult to shake. It's all metaphorical, of course, but every person has a special role to play in this world, and the film shows that one person overcoming their past and their trauma can change everyone's lives. Much like this cup, many of us have been broken and spent significant time piecing ourselves back together. It might leave scars or cracks, but like the cup, we can still hold water once we're done. After enough time and support, telling yourself that the old you is dead can actually help you become the person you were meant to be. I mean, the people we were yesterday are just a shadow of who we are today. And all we have to do is let go of who we think we are and what we think defines us.